performance art and installations and video art, and I thought I would invite you into my creative process. So this is my live-work studio space, and we're gonna go through the process of creating an art video. So before we get too deep into the process, I thought it would be fun to share a little sneak peek of what it becomes. How it's gonna go or what I'm gonna do, and I'll wake up, I'll look at the materials I have around. Most of it is found on the street or at the dumpster, and then I make something. I'm inspired to do a performance and edit a video. So today, in my morning shower, my little foofball broke apart, which has inspired whatever this piece will become. So the idea is that I'll somehow use this in a costume or drapery, or it becomes part of a dress, but this little rando is the thing that inspired today. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at some of the materials I have lying around and start collecting them. I found on the street, by the way I clean everything, is this broken apart fan. So this could be interesting to somehow create as an install or use pieces. I really like to choose a material that you wouldn't normally think would be potentially interesting, but then when you kind of consistently use the same thing in a unique way, all of a sudden it becomes a texture or it adds an interest. So if all of these fans are painted or have a little pattern, and then they're put on the wall in this sort of geometric related pattern, then it becomes a thing. So I like to imagine the possibility of what is this material? How can you kind of break it apart into aspects of a design and then build something cohesive? Okay, so we've spray painted the fans and they look like socks, which has brought me immense joy. And now I'm starting to think about what this material would look good with. They might be something that I use in the performance as well. They kind of feel like they would be interesting with the body, or almost like an arm extension, which also makes me think I may need to paint the backside. And because they're white and they're already kind of a lot, and there's a few, I want to think about another element that could be used on the wall or in relation to them that's interesting but yet not overly distracting, because these already have a thing going on. So I have some white poster board that might be helpful. They might look kind of good. They actually might be helpful to actually nail them into. There's little perforated holes. I'm gonna look around the studio and see what I can find. Okay, so My studio has a lot of random stuff around, and when I find new things and make new things, I just kind of rearrange it. So right now we're looking at some plaster hands, a couple mannequins, but here's that perforated corkboard I was thinking of, as well as this frame actually, maybe a really nice little addition because it's white. So I'm gonna grab these materials and we're gonna go from there. Okay, so now I'm gonna start taking down whatever was previously on the wall and start building something new, and we'll see what happens. Together at once. It creates a stronger image, again, when you're repeating one material in an unexpected way. So while I got these fans, my little stroke of insight was that multiple holes from where the fans connect can link together when you put one nail in. So these two are connected through one nail, and I actually just used some gaff tape because I want to be able to play around quickly, and if it can hold for a few hours, it's fine. And then that way I can kind of play around and see what I want. I'm thinking daisies, I'm thinking socks, and I like both of these things, so we'll see how it plays out. tape first? Or does it help if you tape? Or just as you start to interact with the materials, it's like so quickly you learn so much information just by being in the process of trying. Those types of things you can't really map out, you just learn by doing. Installations and videos on this wall, I end up having to work with its history. So you can see I have these spray painted moments that were from other videos and other times and other projects, which then become part of this element. So it also makes it that much more specific in terms of what I choose to use and how many colors and materials I choose to bring to the wall, since we're already working with a kind of history here. So my next thought is, how can I incorporate this more intentionally into the installation, which means maybe I spray paint part of the poster board. Since this one already has two objects interacting with it, and this color is coming out of here, it's clear that this is covering that blue. I think it'd be kind of cool to add an element of the blue on top of the white. We're using both the wall and the materials and letting them play together. We added in this blue to really make this kind of primary feel. This is a piece of random IKEA furniture. One side I covered in tape, this one I painted, and I just decided to throw it into the mix. So now it's time to think about outfits. I do want to use the foofball, and I have three of the fans. So these might somehow be incorporated while I think about the outfit. outfit. I'm gonna flip them over and I'm gonna paint the back side just so in case there is some movement or something going on, that's a little bit cleaner of a look that matches this vibe. We're gonna go upstairs and look at some clothing ideas. This is a little spiral staircase moment. Check out the disco ball. Parties in the studio. Just kidding, not really. Okay, so this is my closet zone, and I'm gonna start pulling clothes that could potentially be outfits for the video, see if anything inspires me. Especially if we end up using this, which who knows. So let's see. Sweet. So this jumper is kind of speaking at me. Actually, apparently jumpers in general, I've kind of picked a few one pieces that maybe I could play with. This particular piece belonged to a friend, and we had a kind of like a clothing swap sale. So I don't know, I'm thinking I might give this a try. We'll see. I might go this way. And definitely going to add or modify. Also gonna look at some accessories. I love jewelry. If you know me, then you know I love jewelry. So let's see what we got going on. Okay, so this is the look I think we're gonna go with. I put on the jumper. Something about it feels Daisy-esque. I think it could be good with the fans, the orange and the yellow and the brown. I really like the kind of colors of themselves. Keeping the yellow socks and throwing on this sort of orangey clay shoe. I got the foof happening here. I'm gonna pin it up so it'll work along the side, and I'm loving it as an accessory. Okay, so I decided to do a crazy messy bun to match the foof. And again, playing on this idea of like what material do you tend to use or focus on? How can you make that dramatic but minimal? I decided since the weight of the design is on the left side of the body that I'll then like kind of dramatize the left side, so you have the hair going on the left side. I actually put two of the earrings, kind of pulling in this primary color, the red on the wall, on the same ear, so they kind of get lost. The material is woven, it reminds me of this. And again, the same shape, we have rectangle pulling in the primary, the gold goes with what we got going on. So this becomes this side, but it's still clean and semi-minimal. So now I'm gonna do a little makeup and then let's make a video. Okay, so here we are, I have the outfit on, and I'm gonna start playing with objects, some minimal movement, double check the scene, and then go from there, okay? So I'm feeling out the scene. It felt like the blue actually was too strong, so I'm gonna make a last minute decision to change it up and add one of our pieces here. We could always do this side. We could even do this side, but kind of like finding a way to connect these lines or play with that, and then let's get moving. Okay, so I feel good about the set. It's pretty minimal. We got the daisy sock fan vibe going on, 70s kind of corduroy jumper. We're keeping it with oranges and golds and browns. I have 2 little fans to play with, to interact with. Painted the back sides orange, and let's see what happens. Okay, so real talk, right before I went on, it just felt a little too normal. So I was like, I have this giant fluffy, let's incorporate elements of this throughout other parts of the costume or the body. And I put some in my hair, I got this little bow thing going on, but then it both reminded me of almost like when you're getting married in a veil, and I was thinking of covering my face. Then I thought of the feminine and the ways that the feminine face can be covered except for the eyes. And then it made me feel like a medical gurney because we're all stuck at home and it's this weird time. And there's this kind of weird fashion chic that happens with like band-aids and medical elements and like this edgy aesthetic. So I kind of turned my face into that. I also have a lot of random furniture that I find that's like white. So I have a white stool, a couple white chairs. I have this chair. I chose it because the elements of brown, and now I'm gonna get weird. Thanks for watching Change the Scenery. I hope you had a good time being a part of the creative process, and maybe you feel inspired to look around you and find a random object that maybe opens up a whole new realm of possibility. Because for me, changing the scene changes my mindset. So until next time.